This is the true story of an intelligent man named Alan. Alan was an expert in mathematics, computer science, and bio. He was also a good scientist in investigating secret things. He supported his country in the war, even though he did not go to fight in the war. How did this happen? Let's find out in this story. The story begins in 1951, when a man calls the police and tells them that there was a theft in Alan's house. But when the police came to investigate, seeing the condition of the house, it did not seem to be at all that there was a theft here. Checking the house, the police also find Alan. Then the police officers ask that at night your neighbor called and told that there was a lot of commotion here because the thieves had come to steal. So now tell us what happened here and what has been stolen from your house. You tell, then we will find that person. Then Alan smiled and said, I don't think you will be able to find him, even if he comes in front of your eyes. So leave this and go from here. But yes, it would be better if you send a cleaner, because there is a lot of mess in the house. Hearing this, both the officers left from there. But one felt that Alan was definitely hiding something from us. And then this story goes with it, flashback, in the past. And this is the time of 1949, that is the time when the Second War began because of Germany. And the British, that is, their country, had also announced war against Germany. And because of this, a lot of secret projects of both countries started. Now Alan goes to an office of the government. Here some of their army's secret projects were going on. Here he meets the head of these projects, who was the senior, who was a commander. Actually, this commander was looking for a man for the job, who could decode the secret messages of the Germans, which are in the form of codes. That is, he could change it in the form of language, and could explain it, he could tell the true meaning. And today Alan came here to give an interview for this job. But when the commander found out that Alan did not even know a single word of German, then he thinks of getting him out of there, for which he calls his companion there. But as Alan takes the name of a machine that decodes the codes, the commander stops and does not get him out. Actually, the machine that Alan had taken the name of, through it Hitler, that is, the German soldiers, send messages to each other that when, where, and how to attack. Alan tells the commander that the messages that the Germans send to each other through that machine are like a puzzle game. And I really like solving puzzles. On which the commander's answer was, but it is impossible to solve this puzzle. No country in the world has ever been able to solve this puzzle. Alan said, okay, fine, let me solve it and then see. After which he introduces Alan to 5 people. Because this is a whole team who now had to work with Alan. There was also a machine here, showing which the commander tells him that this is the machine through which the Germans send messages. And if we want to understand their messages, then first we have to understand this machine. He also tells that the German soldiers send messages through this machine every morning at 6 o'clock. Then as soon as it is 12 o'clock at night, they completely change the settings of this machine. So to understand the messages, we have about 18 hours. For which it is very important to know this machine well. But this work was very difficult because it looked like a small machine. But its settings were 169 million, which was almost impossible for everyone to understand. Now the chief officer comes here, who tells them that because of this machine, many people in our country are being killed every day. He tells Alan that as long as I have been talking to you, 4 people in our country have been killed in such a long time. Imagine how many people we lose every day because of this. After that, these people go to the work of decoding the messages of that machine. Then this thing comes to light by calculating that, because it has 169 million settings. So if they start checking every setting, then it will take them 20 million years to decode it. Now everyone here started working in their own way. Some of these messages are also decoded. And when they tell this to Alan, he says that don't be happy. If you have decoded it, then it is just a coincidence. Because even a clock tells twice in a day. Hearing this, they surprised a lot. Because what Alan said was true. It was really just a coincidence. Alan tells that I'm going to make such a machine that will decode every code and message perfectly. Here we notice that because of the way Alan works, the way he speaks, the people who work with him are not at all happy. They think that they are very rude, that is, those who don't talk well and are always angry and in their mood. Now to make the machine, Alan had prepared the whole map, whose luggage now he wanted, and when he asks for it, his unit head clearly refuses. After which Alan goes to the commander and tries to explain to him that look, to understand the messages of a machine, we will not need a human brain, but a machine. Because it is a small machine, but it is not common. It is a very special advanced machine, so to understand it, I have to make a machine that needs equipment. And the commander is not interested in his work. One of the reasons for this was that the people who worked with Alan had complained against him. Now when his work was not done here, Alan writes a letter to the president and asks for the cost of making the machine in front of him. The president reads his letter. And when he understands the work of making his machine, he not only gives him money, but also makes him the head of this whole project. As soon as he becomes the head, Alan fires 2 people. Because he understood that these 2 people are not going to come to any work in this project. Now that 2 people had decreased, it means that now he has to keep 2 more people at work. But he wants to hire those 2 people in his own way, which he wanted to choose for the job. Now he makes a very difficult crossword through the newspaper, which is a puzzle, a riddle, and sees that whoever will solve it in 10 minutes, he will have to come to us for the interview. As soon as everyone reads this news, a lot of people come there. Today was their interview, where they were given another crossword. And it was said that you will have to solve it in 6 minutes. Of all those people, there were only 2 people who solve it in 6 minutes. A boy and a girl who are called separately. And they were told that this work is very secretive, so you will never discuss it with anyone. Then when these 2 were joining, the day they started coming to work, the boy comes. But the girl does not come, whose name is Joan. To find out the reason, when Alan went to her house, he found out that Joan's mom and dad were not allowing her to work in such a job where only men work. But Alan wanted Joan with him at any cost, because she was so smart that she solved the puzzle in just 5.5 minutes. Alan explains to Joan that there are a lot of girls in our town who live together. If you want, you can live with them and work from there. Now we can see that Joan is very smart, but she still does not trust herself so much, because she had topped in math. But still she did not get a scholarship. She asks Alan, "Why do you want to help me?" He answers, "Because sometimes the world thinks a person very common, who does something that no one can do." Actually, Alan had a childhood friend named Christopher. He had played an important role in Alan's life. And that's exactly what he told Alan. And Christopher was Alan's friend who taught him coding, and taught him how to solve secret messages. Now in school, where all the children used to bother Alan, Christopher took care of him and trusted him a lot. So that Alan started to have a place in his heart. He started to like him. Now it has been shown that their machine is increasing in time. In the code they get in 18 hours, the hidden message, it ends at 12 o'clock, because whatever happens in that message, the Germans have done that work by 12 o'clock. Along with that, the Germans also changed the settings of their machine. Now, the machine Alan wants to make, if it is made, then all their problems will be solved. Because that machine will change its programming, its settings every day, decode all their messages, and tell them what the Germans are planning, when, where, and what they are going to do. The process of making the machine was just the beginning. And he puts the name of his machine on Christopher. That is, the name of his friend. Now one day when Alan was sitting in the hotel with John, she tells him that you should work together with your team. Otherwise, they will not help you. Because of your behavior, they do not like you. Now because of her explanation, the next day, Alan takes apples for everyone, which surprised his team a lot. Because he does not even talk to anyone. And today this was a good change in him, which made his team happy, and started supporting him from today. Now a boy from his team, who used to be their head, gives a paper to Alan, on which the settings of the machine made by Alan were to be changed. He says that change the settings of the machine like this, it will start working faster. Alan does the same, changes the machine in such a way that it starts working. But it does not have any benefit, because it cannot decode the messages. On the other hand, Hitler, the army of Germany, had wreaked havoc everywhere. Everything was destroyed, they had spread all over Europe. And it was completely failed in decoding the messages here, which the German soldiers were selling to each other to attack. Now because of this project of Alan, the government was very upset. Because for this work, they had already given him 85 locks, which had no benefit. So the commander comes to Alan with his soldiers, and tells him that the money that was being given for this project from today is being stopped. And you are also removed from this work. And from today this project has been stopped. Then he tells his soldiers to remove Alan from here at this time. And when the soldiers were going to take him, then Alan's team comes here, who tells the commander that if you are removing Alan, then remove us too. Then he makes sure that Alan's machine works. You give us 6 months' time. We will decode all the messages and show you. The commander says that I'm not giving you 6 months. I am giving you 1 month. If this machine does not work after this, then I will not want to see any of you here, I will remove everyone. Saying this, he goes from there. Now John was being called back by her family. Because she was 25 years old and her family now wanted to marry her. Here she tells Alan that I'm going home. Because my family is calling, they want to marry me. Hearing this, Alan himself tells her to marry. That I will marry you, you will marry me. Actually, Alan never wanted her to go back. She agreed to marry and their relationship was confirmed. They become one, and when they do party, Alan asked one of his friends, that what if I don't treat John with love? His friend says that I know why you are saying this. Because you like men, right? To which Alan agrees that yes. I am interested in men instead of women. And in my past, I've been in a relationship with all the men. I realize this, so I tell all this to my fiancé John. To which his friend immediately refuses that never do this. Because a woman never tolerates this. To which Alan does this. And he does not tell anything to his fiancé John. Now one day when Alan, John and his friend were in a bar. There John's friend jokingly says that I may have fallen in love with someone and that boy is German. Actually, the signals sent from the German radio tower. This girl keeps an eye on them, records them. She says that I have fallen in love with the sender of those messages. But maybe he has a friend. Alan asks in surprise that do you think he has a friend? Then she says that he always starts his message with 5 words. Silly means silly. So I think he has a friend named Silly. Hearing this, Alan smiled and said, oh God, love has killed the Germans. After which he runs and goes to the place where his machine is. With him, the rest of the people also came. Alan tells everyone that if my machine Christopher already knows a few words, then it can make these words himself with the help of them. Now every morning the message is sent in which the sky, weather report and Hitler, live long are said. All the words used in the sky, weather report and live long Hitler. They already know where they are. They fit all the words and start the machine. The machine stops after working a little. And after a while, they have all the alphabet in order. As if they use A instead of B. Then they learn the meaning of B is A. Understanding this big issue, they go to the place where the machine is. The message of the morning 6 o'clock. They become successful in decoding it with the help of those words. From they learn the message of today's morning. They become very happy because of this big success. Their efforts work. And they began to cry after being emotional. As they received the message the next morning at 6 o'clock. They decode it. From they learnt where the Germans were going to attack today. There are many people who will be killed. When his friend called and told the commander about it, Alan stops him, please don't do this. And throw the phone down. Seeing this, his friend got angry and he slapped Alan. He wanted to stop this attack. Because there are many innocent people there. Alan tells him that if we tell this to the commander, then he will stop this attack. By this the Germans will understand that. Through the machines in the form of codes. The messages they send, the solution to that is with us. That is, we know the language of their codes. By this, in a week, they will change all the languages of the machine. All the programming. And we will never be able to decode their messages again. Now where the attack was going to happen, there was also a brother of a member of their team. So that boy says that there is my brother. Somehow stop this attack. On which Alan says that no, I am sorry, we can't do this. Because here we are all working for our country. Our personal feelings with you are not important here. Now after a while, the attack takes place at that place. There was so much destruction that all these people die. Then Alan meets the chief officer and tells him that we have found a way to decode all the messages. But yes, we can't stop all the attacks. Because such Germans will be suspicious that we have learned to decode their small machine messages. After which they will change its settings. Language, programming, everything. And yes, the attacks we stop. You will have to make a false story of all of them. The story you will convey to the Germans. So that they feel that whatever information we get it from other sources. They should never doubt that. We have understood their messages. We have made their machine decoder. Even the commander should not know about this. After which they do the same. Now one day when they were working, Alan finds out that his friend, that is, the boy of his team, who knows that Alan is interested in men. He is actually a German spy. Who gives all the information to the Germans. Then Alan goes to him and threatens that I will go and tell this to the commander. Then the boy also started threatening that okay, go and tell. But then I will also tell everyone about your interests in men. Actually, this is the time when it is a big crime to have a relationship with men, for which Alan can also be punished. Now when Alan tells this to his chief officer, he replies that yes, we already knew that he was a German spy. And we all know the messages he sends to the Germans. But this only benefits us and harms the Germans. Because that fool does not know that by spying like this, he is harming his own country. Because he does not have a brain like you. Now Alan tells his fiancée, Joan, that you should go away from here because your life is in danger. You do this, go to your parents' house. But she refuses. You say no, I am not going anywhere. I will stay with you because I love you. Here Alan tells her that I like men. I have a relationship with them too. Then she says, I know, I already had a doubt. But still, I would like to stay with you. I love you and I have forgiven you, I am worried about you. Now Alan replies, but I don't love you. I engaged you, fixed the relationship. So that you can stay here and help us. That's it, nothing more than this. This makes Joan very sad and she gets so angry that she slaps Alan on the face. And she says that you are very bad. Whatever other people say about you is absolutely true. You are really a selfish, a proud person. Saying this, she leaves from here. And then Alan continued to decode the messages of the Germans for the next 2 years, which he used to send his soldiers to attack. Alan's team decides which attacks to let happen, and which attacks to stop. Then they decide that we will stop the big attacks, so that the Germans will feel with their small wins that no one has been able to decode their machine. But in reality, Alan had stopped the big attacks and wars by decoding the messages from his machine, which was a big loss for the Germans. Then finally, after 2 years, this war ends, in which, obviously, the British win. It was said that the British would never have won this war if Alan had never made that machine from his mind. Because at that time Germany was a very powerful country. After this victory, his chief officer meets this team. Says that you burn this machine and all the papers of this project. And finish it. No one should ever find out that you have worked on this project. And now you can all go to your own homes. After this, the story comes back to the present time, where it was found that there was no theft in Alan's house. In fact, he was with his friend at night. And even at this time, it was considered a crime to have a relationship with men, because of which Alan is arrested. Then the judge puts 2 options in front of Alan. Either you will have to go to jail for 2 years, or you will have to get this surgery done and change your body. You will also have to take therapy, so that such wrong things never come to your mind. Then Alan chooses surgery and therapy, because of which he became very weak, because it also causes damage. But one day when John comes to meet him, she sees that he has become very weak and emotional. That's why she advises him that you shouldn't be alone. He replies that I was never alone. The memories of my friend with me are always with me, in the form of a machine. Because both are named Christopher. Now John was feeling very sympathetic for him, because his condition is not good. She tells him that the train I came in today passed through a city. And if it weren't for you, that city would never exist. Because by failing the Germans, all the cities you have saved, that city is also included in them. She tells him that you saved the lives of thousands and millions of people. So you are not an ordinary person, you are very special. And sometimes people who do not consider a person worthy, they do such things that no one can do. This is the same thing that Christopher said to Alan as a child. Then Alan said to John, and today John was with him. This made Alan satisfied, but during his treatment, he jumped and took his life when he was about 41 years old. Then after a few years of his death, all the charges against him were removed. And because of his work, Alan was highly praised. He was praised, a lot of respect was received. Because he did something that no one could ever do. Who supported his country without going to war, and saved the lives of thousands and millions of people. And with this, the story of Alan's life ends here.